Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Thankful Thursday, March 6th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is a Renaissance man. He is a father, he is a model, he is an actor, he is an artist, he is a writer, he is a host. He does so many things. I could go on. We'd be all day here listing all of his credits. So without further ado, please welcome Fashion Dolls, Lawrence Sturdivant Jr. Shout outs to my brother, the host of the K2 Spot. Please make sure you guys go and check him out and subscribe. I'm feeling like sunshine today, so I had to put on the marigold in celebration of spring fashion, even though it's still a little nippy outside. So you guys can go and check out that in the words of J. Michael. So definitely go and check that out. So without further ado, please welcome with me Lawrence Sturdivant Jr. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello,
Hello.
hello.
Welcome to the Dollhouse. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Yes, yes. Before we kick off this conversation and interview, how has 2025 been for you so far?
2025 has been great. One of my favorite words for this year so far has been fluid. So it's just been flowing, and enjoying the flow.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
It's been resourceful for all of us. And
Mhm.
I had this conversation with my guest yesterday, Jamal, and we were talking about how 2025 was the year for greatness and so much more to come in this year.
Mhm.
More is the key word. So, more blessings, more endeavors, more opportunities for each and every one of us.
Mhm.
So, I like to start at the beginning of the journey before we go on to your current projects because you have a book that is coming out, which we're going to talk about. You have a project that is coming out, which we're going to be talking about. You have a couple of things, but I like to start from the beginning of your journey. Now, you were born and raised in Waterbury, Connecticut. Tell us, how many siblings, how many brothers and sisters?
I love it. I actually have the honor of having a twin sister. I am 4 minutes older. So that was always our running joke growing up. I have two half brothers. I have first cousins that, many of our cultures do. We were raised as siblings. They're older, definitely taught me what I needed to know as a younger lad. And yeah, Waterbury, we used to call it the dirty waters. It was a fun place to grow up growing up.
And you also attended the University of Connecticut. What was it like attending the University of Connecticut? And you mastered in theater, so you have a background in theater as well too. Yes, I've done my research.
Yes,
I
you
am
have.
an
I'm impressed.
interview.
I'm impressed.
So tell us, what was it like attending the University of Connecticut?
I'll tell you, ironically, I had no intentions on going to college. My senior year, I'll never forget, I was running track, and my academic coach, who's also our weight coach, came to me and was like, "Hey, UConn's here to see you." And I thought it was for, running track. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of engineers and teachers in my family. So one of my engineer uncles had reached out to one of his peers who worked for UConn and was like, "Hey, my nephew is coming through. I would love him to go to UConn." They set up a whole program that I had no idea of, and I ended up starting UConn 2 weeks after graduating high school for an accelerated program. It was great. Being in Connecticut, I didn't have to go too far for school, and then being able to just expand my network from folks that were flying from all over the world to come to Connecticut since it's such a great school. I learned a lot. My networks, I still have folks within that network group. And it just also helped me to get more used to talking to people outside of Waterbury, which is great for my career and professionally as well as acting.
Thank you, Miss T, for thank you for the hair compliment. Yes, I feel like a golden sunflower today.
Beautiful color.
It's spring. It's springtime. Time to pull out the burst of color. Like we've been in the winter months, it's been cold season, but springtime is all about the color. And speaking of color and being colorful, Broadway, you have a background in theater. So tell us, what was it like? And then what do you think about the rise, the current rise? We're seeing all of these shows like The Piano Lesson, August J. Wilson, of course, The Wiz, dominating. Black actors are dominating Broadway. Like this is nothing we've never seen before. Like yes, black actors have been there in Broadway, but what do you think about the increase of black actors showcasing their talent now? And it's just like more and more than ever.
Yeah, and honestly, that industry needed that boost.
Yes.
For a while, streaming and television was everything. And for those who are in the acting community, it's kind of like a running joke. You're not really an actor, some actors feel, unless you've done theater. People feel that on TV, you can always just say cut and you can go through a couple different takes. On theater, you have that one opportunity to either make it, or if you don't, fake it enough so that those in the audience didn't know that a line was missed or a note was off. I enjoyed my time on acting and on Broadway. Let me be clear, I was off Broadway, so it's literally like a block away from it in New York City. But I give those folks credit. I've done shows two a night, Wednesday through Saturday. It is no joke. Like your stamina, your ability, your mental capacity, it's a lot of work. So to see so many of us now having that large screen, having our true stories being told our way and on such a consistent basis, it just warms my heart to know that, we're getting the shine that we deserve.
Absolutely. And my colleague, now's the time, is in the New York area. I have family in New York. So to feel that experience, to see that representation, to see the pictures, the images of everybody together, the representation, the people that look like us in a
Mm.
space where it's predominantly white is just amazing, more than ever. And shout outs to Candy Burris.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know, of course, the Housewives of Atlanta. She has really gotten into writing, directing, producing in Broadway. This is where our talent should be.
I agree.
And how important, my next question for you is how important more than ever are arts for Black artists and directors and filmmakers? Because you are a writer yourself, you wear so many hats. But how important, and I had the same conversation with Jamal yesterday, how important is it that Black filmmakers, Black directors, and producers get their shine and get the representation?
It's very important because I'll tell you, as I'm a man of a certain age, and as I get older, I realize that it's not about me. And our purpose here on this earth is so much bigger than us.
Oh, yeah.
So when we actually take the approach to write, to produce, to direct, we're in some ways taking a back seat and saying that I want to create something for others. And when we say others, you're including actors, you're including your stagehands, you're including people on equipment, you're including a whole team, giving people purpose and work. And if it's now you're catering to a community, to our community, now you're also giving our community more opportunities to be part of such an amazing movement. So it's huge. And I tell so many artists, one of the biggest hurdles is not being afraid of your art being seen or heard. Put it out there. Someone wants to hear your story. Someone needs to hear your story. And similar to my book, which we're going to talk about eventually, going into the arts was the best therapy I could have ever experienced. Don't get me wrong, I've gone through therapy professionally, but just going to the art community and being able to literally put yourself into someone else's shoes, the best therapy I've ever experienced.
And I love what now's the time to say, which is we are the most inclusive. And I said this yesterday that Black people, Black creators, Black filmmakers, we are the culture. We are the innovators of this. And it goes all the way back to Ozzy D and
Awkward.
Ozzy D.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy Davis. Ozzy,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, that would have been cute. We love Ozzy Davis over here. Ozzy Davis and Ruby D. We can go all the way back to Felicia Rashad, Angela Bassett, all of these big actors that we see today, even Denzel Washington, his sons, John David, all of them, they have done
Yeah.
Broadway. It's
Yeah.
important more than ever that we showcase our talent, especially in a time and in a climate where they are trying to erase our history. It's important that we continue to showcase this. So, speaking of showcasing, for you, when was that moment when you realized that you have lived life to the fullest?
I still don't feel like I've hit that moment, Stevie. But I will say, as an actor, I had a wonderful opportunity to do a film called Don't Let Love Pass You By off Broadway. And I remember when the producer came to me, he's like, hey, listen, the character is going to have an arc. Basically, the audience is going to love you in the beginning. At the end of the play, your goal is to have them hate you. He gave me the script and talk about therapy. It was something that I actually experienced growing up. Didn't understand the perspective until now I'm being put into that role. And as an actor, you want to build that character background. You want to be able to become that character. And Stevie, first half, they loved me. Second half, at the end of it, I had a line of folks waiting to talk to me, and all they kept saying was like, "How did you transform in front of us in real time?" And that's when I knew this is what I'm supposed to be doing. To be able to tell that story, to be able to transform literally in front of folks and be able to give them a perspective that then goes forever because now they're learning from a different perspective. It changed my game.
Thank you, girl. Christina, nice here, darling. Another philosophical conversation. Go, yes. And these are conversations that need to be had about living life to the fullest. And I had the same conversation with Christina as well, too. She said, "You're so lively. You're so lively. Your personality," said, "I was very lively." And I think I get that from my mother. My mother's a Libra. I'm a Scorpio. And no, we're not blaming zodiac signs, but I've always been that way since I was 8 years old. You
Mm.
know, a very outgoing, and then growing up with siblings. I have four brothers, two sisters. So out of all of my siblings, I've always been the one to be the most outrageous, the most adventurous, the most wanting to explore, wanting to learn more. And that is important too. So what is, speaking of childhood, what has been the earliest memory for you in your life, just in general, throughout your career? What's the earliest memory for you?
Honestly, and I know some folks may question this, but I truly remember the light. So when I came out of my mother, I can hear my mom,
Um,
I can hear everyone in that room, and I can remember that moment where I entered this world. It's amazing. It's so clear to me, so vivid.
it's important that we remember these things in life because life can be taken from you in an instant. And we just recently, I was supposed to be interviewing her, Angie Stone, who's one of
Mm.
soul music's most iconic voices. And I feel like this woman never got her flowers or her just due. And me and her publicist, shout outs to Deborah Champagne, became good friends. And I had Deborah on the show, me and Deborah, and shout outs to my other girlfriend, Tamala, three times the T as well. We had a girl talk. It's a girl talk panel, three women, and we were supposed to be doing an interview with Angie, but I said, "I want to interview you too,
Hey,
Deborah. Come on the show, girl." And we had a whole girl talk powwow. But it just goes to show you that in an instant, life can be taken from you. Yesterday, we also lost another music icon, Roy Ayers, who sung the song "Everybody Loves the Sunshine." He passed away
mm.
yesterday as well too. So it's just like life is too short, and it's important that we continue to live and fulfill our wishes that God has put here for us, our purpose, our destiny. So my next question for you is, what negative self-talk do you struggle with? Because I know sometimes I critique myself harshly. I gotten to a point where I couldn't watch my interviews because all I would do is beat myself up
Mm.
and point something out, and other people would say, "Girl, you're tripping. Like, you did great. Why are you beating yourself up so harshly?" And my brother K Tukes, who's in the audience right now watching us, has snapped me out of that to the point where you're great, you over exaggerate. So for you, what is a negative self-talk that you've struggled with in your life and your career as far as performance?
Copy. First, I just want to say siblings are so awesome, aren't they? They're like the best mirrors for us when we're going through whatever we're going through. Um, I would say, as an artist, I have to stop being so concerned about how my art will land with others and accept that it will land where it's supposed to land with who it's supposed to land with. Also accept that, art is timeless. This may be something that will land better 10 years from now, 20 years from now. But I have to get it out because it's inside of me. That's the gift that I've been given. And you know how that works. If I don't use this gift will be taken from me. So that's one of the hardest, not shouldn't even say hardest, but that's one of the obstacles that I have to get over. Is just being worried and concerned about how my art will land and how people will perceive me.
Absolutely. Now you have a book coming out. A book is being released end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter. Pre-sales are going to be beginning this week. So tell us a little bit about your book.
Yes. So when I first started acting, I actually wrote my first play. I didn't release it because Spirit was like, it's not time. Life,
Mm,
life. I'm about to put that on a t-shirt. And this idea just came to me. I just would write. I had no flow. I just knew that I needed to tell my story. and I hadn't heard anyone telling the story from the perspective that I was coming from. So my book title is The Divorcee, and it
Ooh.
is fancy, Divorcee.
It
And I do
sounds
that intent.
scandalous, like Jackie Collins or something,
It's
or Terry
it's
McMillan.
it's a combination of much. Some will say scandalous. I love the word provocative, and it
Mm.
just goes basically through my history and my story after my divorce. And all I do remember is my last court date, going through an ugly divorce, and just sitting amongst all these other folks that were going through a divorce here on Long Island, New York. And all I could say to myself is that everyone in this room has pictures where they never saw themselves being in this room right now. Everyone in here has pictures where they were the happiest beings ever because they were so much in love. And now we're in this room arguing over dot, dot, dot. And that's where my story began. One of those transformative journeys of never have expectations because things can go ways that you don't expect them to. What happens when things go ways that you don't expect them to? I went through stories and journeys of self identification, went through meeting Tantra teachers and learning so much about myself through sexuality and realizing, like, oh my goodness, compared to my foundation that I was growing up on as a Christian, transforming to that, leaving a born in religion, all of that. I just put myself out there to where folks can understand that we are a different breed, and not in a bad way, but when you've gone through what you've gone through, you move differently and you move accordingly. And just giving people a space to realize that, hey, your story is your story and your journey is yours. And our superpower is our authenticity.
Absolutely. Going through a divorce, what are some advice and going through that period? What is some advice that you would give to someone? Because everyone's looking to be loved. We're now in a day and age where everyone is looking for that something special or that one moment. It can be in a relationship, it can be in
Mm-hmm.
life, it can be in any aspect of you. What is some advice that you would give to someone who's going through that tough period where it seems like the darkness is here? Am I ever going to get through it?
I love that question. And my advice would be your first relationship has to be with you, period. If we're forever looking for love, looking for anything outside of ourselves, that's where our problems begin. We have to fall in love with ourselves first. We have to know how we like to be loved. We have to know how we like to be cared for. We have to know ourselves. Man, woman, know thyself first. Then everything else on top of that is just a bonus. It's a plus. It sprinkles on top of your Sunday that you already made for yourself. But fall in love with yourself, relearn yourself, unlearn what no longer serves you. Remember what used to make you happy, what used to make you excited. Learn a hobby, learn something, exercise your body, be mindful of what you put inside your body, but get to know you first. And then my second advice would be mindful of who's around you because not everyone in your camp has your best interest in mind. So keep in mind those who have always been there for you. Keep in mind those that have perhaps told you things that you didn't want to hear, but it was from a good space. And just be mindful of your support group. And if you need to get a new support group, as you're learning you more, what no longer serves you will fall off, and what you need will be brought to you in due time.
Absolutely. What is your deepest regret? Do you have any deepest regrets in your life, just in general, or career, where it's just like, okay, I should have been?
I love that question because 20 years ago, I would have had a whole list. Now, being where I'm at now, I realize and accept that everything that I experienced had to be exactly that in order for me to be exactly where I am now. So I guess my regret would be that I didn't accept my journey and I didn't
Mm,
truly allow myself to be present enough to understand that this was my journey, my way, that I needed to learn versus looking at everyone else and trying to just copy and paste versus just being and allowing, God to take me wherever I needed to be taken to and to learn from every experience.
and you're also a dad as well too. Speaking of experiences, what has fatherhood taught you? What has being a husband and a dad taught you so far? Because I know in this business, being with you being an actor, with you being an actor, a writer, and then a model as well too, balancing out all of these hats. I know for all of us who are in the industry who have families and having to tend and find that balance, what has fatherhood taught you the most?
It taught me humility.
Mm,
Fatherhood has taught me empathy. It's taught me. I'm a girl dad. I have two beautiful daughters. It's taught me to be able to connect better with women. In a lot of ways, I was raised by women, although my father was present. I had amazing aunties. I was blessed to have both grandmothers and great grandmothers. Many queens that were able to show me what they needed to show me so that I could be more prepared to be a girl dad and have daughters. My daughters are amazing. They push me, they test me in a good way. If they see that their father is slipping, they'll call me out in a heartbeat. If they see that I'm not pushing myself like I push them, they'll call me out in a heartbeat. And I need that from them. Being a father, I'll tell you, changed my life. It gave me a perspective that I've never saw before. It made me not look at myself as much as I did and realize that this is so much bigger than me, and they inspire me because I want to be able to just show them that you can do anything you want in life. And I tell my daughters, like, this is my plan, this is my strategy. And when it happens, I'm like, you see why this happened? I planned this out there, and just being able to give them those gems and let them also create what they want to create and support. There's nothing better than being a father.
Yes. What is it like being the only guy in a house full of women?
Nah.
Because you know when they grow up, when they get that age, just make my advice will be Auntie Stevie's advice would be to the girls: make sure you get Daddy's credit card and go to Sephora and buy rack up on makeup. Yes. Um, but what is it like being a girl dad? And you have a house full of women. You have your wife and then your two daughters. What is it like being a house full of women?
Well, I don't have a wife, but I do have, when I have my daughters, it's amazing. It's just, I make the environment so that they're comfortable. My ex-wife and I, we have, a schedule to our daughters. They live with her, they live
Gotcha.
with me. But I will say this, my daughters always tell me when they're here, they sleep amazingly. They like, Dad, I don't know what it is, and when I come to your home, I just feel so rested, and that makes me feel good because I'm like, you feel protected, you feel that you're safe,
Yes.
you're where you need to be. Sometimes it could be a lot of high energies, but I also look at that as training, allowing them to be the women that they're becoming, and also realizing that how I treat them is how and what they will accept to be treated when they become women, when go into this world and they start dealing with other energies. So I love it because I know that I'm that first line of teaching so that they can then be more prepared for this world.
Have they picked up the acting bug yet? Because there's a lot of children who see what their parents are doing. Say, for instance, I'm a big Brandy fan. And her daughter sings as well too. And Miss Sonia Norwood, Brandy's mom, was not having it. I remember they did an interview with Arsenio Hall, and it's like, no, she's gonna go to school. She's gonna become a dentist. We want her to do this. She's gonna become a doctor. Most parents have their reservations about it, but have the girls picked up the acting bug from you yet?
Ironically, my daughters have picked up a lot of bugs from me. And full transparency, their mother is an amazing writer, and she's also an amazing artist. So they have it on both sides. We're all musicians on my family as well. So both of my daughters play two plus instruments. They've been on the
Ah,
stage probably since they've been 5. Um, I'm trying to get them to go into acting. They have actually done a movie with me, one of my first movies back in the city. They did background, they did amazing. And my oldest is actually stepping into comedy. Like she's been funny her whole life, but now she's starting to really see the algorithm and she's starting to create a little bit more content around that space. So as a father, just as it was given to me, like I mentioned, I have engineers, teachers, musicians, like my family just put everything out on the table. It's like, what do you gravitate towards? I gravitated towards all of it. And then obviously you find your way. I've done the same thing. Like my oldest is about to graduate high school. She may be going to RISD for art school in Rhode Island, or she may pursue her own entrepreneurship. Like we have options. It's just a matter of what do you want to do, and let's support it.
and yes, when that moment comes for them to walk across that stage to accept their diploma, and now you're heading into college, you're putting on the big shoes. A lot of parents get that empty nest feeling. I have a
Mm.
2-month-old nephew. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I have a fur baby
Hey.
though. Her name is Coco. She's 5 years old. She's a toy poodle, and I brought her on the show with me. But taking care of a pet is just the same as taking care of a child. You have to
Agreed.
clean up after them, feed them, everything. But that time when it comes to go to college, what is some advice that you given to your girls along the way as far as exceeding in the education and going further in your career?
I love that question. Thankfully, with my oldest, the last 2 years, she's been able to do a college program in UConn. during the summer on Saturdays. Before that, she was anti-college, and I got it. You know, it's not for everyone. I was like, just give it a try. If you like it, you don't. If you do, you do. I'll never forget. Drove her first thing in the morning on a Saturday morning. She's tired. She's not happy, and I'm like, hey, we're gonna have a good day today. I need you to give this your best because if it does, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. When I came to pick her up, she could not contain her excitement. She was so hyped. And I was like, so did you have a good day? She's like, Dad, UConn's amazing. She just went on and on and on and on. And her whole judgment of college out the window.
Change.
Because now she's able to see what it could be. So for me, ironically, I do feel like lately I have been not empty nesting, but I've been empty nesting but planning, realizing that my daughters are actually about to go off on their way. Daddy now needs to start planning his new way because I'm no longer needed in this capacity. And that's actually been scary, but it's also been fun for all of us because we're all entering into these new spaces of our life. And it's exciting.
And then when it's that time to let go, I remember Angela Bassett, because her two
Mm-hmm.
children, they specialize in production as well too, and they do music. One, she said her daughter specializes in music, and her son wanted to do production. They are walking in their footsteps and doing their own thing as
Excuse
well too. It's important that we let them branch off and find their way as far as education is concerned. If this is what you want to do, because I remember her, and she said her and her husband Courtney B. Vance, they toured colleges and everything, and it was a process. It was a process, but they finally found their way, and that's what we have to let the next up and coming generation do, is find their way. And speaking of generation, you have a film coming out as well too, starring one of my favorite actors. And I call him the crazy I call him the crazy doctor. If you guys have seen the movies, you know Eric Roberts. You have a film with Eric Roberts. So this showcases him in a different light, whereas we see him in the as the doctor. But I've seen everything. I can't give away a whole lot of deets. But what can we expect from this project? And what was it like working with the amazing Eric Roberts?
me. We can expect from this project an artistic project. This director, his name is Dan Samoki. Excuse me. I say he's out there. Like his vision is, it's one of those films that you cannot just watch once. Every time you watch it, you're gonna get something new. You're gonna realize, oh, I didn't realize that connection.
Hmm.
This was connected here. It's out there. My character, I love that the director gave me as much autonomy that he gave me and constructive freedom. Like he was like, I built this character for you. Run with it. I ran over the script a few times. I gave him my notes. He was like, I don't care what you do. Whatever you do, I trust you. And it all came together beautifully. I would say about Eric, a professional. Um, you want to talk about someone that you can tell has been doing this for many times. Every time he did a take, he was the same way every time because he knows the game. He knows that you're going to do your cutting and your editing, but each time when it comes to me, it's going to be easy because I've done it the same way each time. If you gave him instructions, he didn't have an ego, note it, he adjusted it in real time. And as an actor, that was such a download for me. I'm like, do it right and do it right each time. Life can be a lot easier. And it was a great experience. I'm looking forward to folks being able to see this film. Overall figure coming soon.
I can't wait. And the film is titled Overall Figure, and Lawrence's book is titled The Divorcee. And pre-sales begin this week.
We
So make sure you guys be on the lookout and subscribe to his channel. Make sure you guys are following him as well too. My next, speaking of being on cue, because we were talking about Eric being on cue and professional, how would you describe commitment? Because with being an actor or being a director, or like myself, a host of a platform, you have to be committed to your audience and committed to the role and task. How important and how would you define or describe commitment?
I love that question. My partner and I were just talking about this subject 2 days ago,
Mm,
and she would be rolling to know what I'm not going to say. But I would say commitment is very important. If someone was building a house, and if you didn't commit to the foundation, if you didn't commit to the structure, if you didn't commit to finishing it on a
exactly.
certain time, it's never going to be done. So with commitment with self, and that's why again it starts with self. If we can't commit with ourselves, how can we commit to anything outside of us? It's impossible. So we can start from I'm going to go on a diet. It can start from I'm going to go to the gym. It can start from whatever it is, but the more we're able to commit with ourselves, the more we're able to build, and then the more we're able to work with. Commitment is huge. And I get why some folks may have commitment issues, and that was part of my conversation with my partner, because of people's experiences and what they've gone through. And that's why you have to do even more work to make sure that if you are going to be investing into something, that you've checked all the boxes that you need to. And then the end of it all is got to have that faith and go with that feeling. Like if your gut is telling you no, why are you proceeding? If your gut is telling you I'm good with this, then what are you truly afraid of? And those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves, but that's where that inner work comes in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And not only that, but today's show is centered around procrastination, doing things. Why put off the day of my beauty school instructor? She would tell me this all the time. She would say, why put off the day what you can do tomorrow? Procrastination, get it done now. Like if you have a
Wow.
plan, and I create vision boards. So almost everything that I put onto my vision board for each year, because I did one for 2025 and then I did one last year for 2024. And it's like I do a mental checklist walking past the board every day of everything that I wanted to accomplish. And I'm looking at my board now across the room, and one of the words on that board is power and intrigue.
Mm.
I love to keep people centered and focused in a conversation. Power is all about us taking back our power, reclaiming that power. And I also touched on this yesterday about the power of no. Sometimes it
Mm.
means no, not right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of actors go for roles or go to be seen for roles, and they don't get the role that they're looking for automatically at that direct time. But then a blessing could come about, and you're out and you get an email or a phone call from that director or that producer saying, hey, do you think you can come in and read the parts for this role right here? And it's like, sure, yes. And it's more than one line. And then another blessing could be if it says recurring. So see how God works. He works in mysterious ways, in
Absolutely.
very mysterious ways. I was like, I'm never going to reach. At one point, I wanted to reach 600 interviews. Now I'm almost at 800. This will make interview 759 today. So we
Wow.
are halfway on the road to 800. And it's because I've never given up. And I talked to my brother K Tooks about it. I said, brother, I'm not going to be able to do this. And he's like, sure, you can. You can. He's always been there encouraging, always texting, calling me to check to see how I'm doing. And he does the same exact thing that I do, interview people. So it's like, it's great to have someone like that in your corner. And then my colleague, Now's the Time, who was here, who I've also known for a long time as well, too. They've always been encouraging and saying, don't give up. Stay in the fight. Don't give up. Believe in your vision. Because there
Love.
was one point where I was just like, okay, procrastinating, just dragging along and not getting it done. Now I'm at a point where it's done. I have everything I want. So my next question for you is, and this ties into procrastination as well too, is like for people, fear, what scares you the most?
What fears me the most, I would say, is not doing what I came here to do, not
Mm,
being myself. And I love how my internal compass works. When I am not in that zone, my whole spirit is off to where like if someone's catching a cold and okay, I haven't been doing this, and that's why I feel a little under the weather. If I'm not in my power, if I'm not being who I'm supposed to be, I'm off. And I appreciate those that are close to me to be able to also call me out and be able to notice that as well. I'm like, are you good? And I'm like, actually, I'm not. And then what I need to do in those cases is just meditate and just be to myself and remove any distractions in my mind so I can then be regrounded to know where I am and then get back on my track of where I'm heading. Cannot
yeah.
not be myself. Yeah.
Stay centered, stay focused. And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that you stay in tune with yourself. Hey, lovely, is there any way we can watch your live afterwards? I gotta go to work, but I'd love to be able to come back and watch this great interview later. And yes, Josie, yes, you can come back and you can watch it. I will have it saved, and it will also be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. So you guys can check out some of the past interviews, past seasons, and also hit the community tab. There's a lot of important information there as well too. March is Women's History Month, and if you guys have seen the pin tabbed on my page here, I am on the list of inspirational women. So shout outs to my amazing, I call her boss lady, Mickey
Hey,
Solar. She is the owner of Original Magazine UK. So yes, that brings me to the next portion before we close of the conversation. Of course, we're going to get to the first thing I want to do with Lawrence, and then the second thing we're going to do, of course, turn the tables where my guests get to ask me questions. But women, you have your daughters and you have your mom and the rest of the women in your family. I want Lawrence to give me 5 things that make us as women so dynamic. And I have my lineup this week is all men. I wanted it to be all women, but fellas, y'all got to put in the work as women. We've done the work in this country.
I
So
agree. I
5 things
agree.
that make women unforgettable.
Yeah, let me just preface by saying I love women, and I know that every woman is unique. And I was so glad that you actually prepped me prior to, because I wanted to give this some thought, and I actually wrote it down. I just got my notepad in front of me. So, 5 things that I wrote down. One, the emotional intelligence of a woman, their ability to just sense any space that they're in, from danger to something is good to words said to words unsaid. A woman's emotional intelligence is amazing, and then that ties in with number two, their ability to be emphatic. They feel in a way, and I don't like how the world sometimes can demonize that ability because that is a superpower of many women and men, but women, for the most part, have that ability to just feel and be able to truly understand and connect with what someone is going through. And as men, we need that understanding, especially when it's coming from people within our circles, our mothers, our daughters, the women in our lives. The third one that I wrote down was a woman's ability to be resilient and adaptable. When you think about just the history in this country, the social changes alone, women have had to make so many different changes and still do it with a smile and do it with grace. And I just feel like their ability to just show that strength throughout all of those changes is just unmatched. Where some men may just say F it and just keep it moving, but women just keep changing and adjusting. The fourth one I wrote down was community and nurturing. While many people can say, all right, men builds infrastructure and we build these cities, but these cities cannot be cities and they cannot be communities without women. They can't be maintained without women either. The nurturing from a woman allows things to be all that it is. And then the beautification that women bring to what men can create. It's that complement. And then the last one that I wrote down, kind of similar to the second, was just the multifaceted strength that a woman has. A woman is physically strong, a woman's emotionally strong, a woman is mentally strong, and that's your superpower. And so many times, like that old saying used to be, behind a strong man is a strong woman. And it's like, you gotta be strong. And I always told my children, because I love to dance, so we would do, their mother and I used to dance salsa professionally. And the teacher always told us, in order to be a strong lead, you also have to be a strong follower. It takes the same amount of strength it does to follow as it does to lead. And so many times we think about this world of like submission, and it's like a woman has to be strong to be able to submit to a strong man, and vice versa. Like the strength doesn't have to be not there. Like we need a woman to be strong. And those are my top five, and the uniqueness of
Love
women.
it.
Yeah.
Love it. And I'm gonna go back because we've always, as African American women, we were the focal point for this country, and we've
Mm-hmm.
always had to be, like you said, the nurturers, the caregivers, the providers in this community, in the Black community and collective. So it's important, especially for my mother. My mother's always taught me to be independent, to speak out and speak up on certain things. Never let anybody take your voice from you, and always to follow your gut intuition. And not only myself as a Black woman, but she's taught my sister that as well too. And she's taught my brothers that as well too, to never let anybody take their voices as men. Never let anybody take your voice. She's always taught us to be vocal and speak up for change. And not only that, but to follow that instinct. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
That
And before we get to turn the tables, I'm holding off. Before we get to that, my next question for you is intuition. How important is it in this climate, in this day and age, for everyone to follow their intuition and lead?
It is very important. Again, that is your gift. That is your natural born gift. I don't know how many of your viewers have ever had a toothache. I've
Oh,
had that once, and that is the worst pain I've ever had. But I bring it up as an illustration because months prior to the actual pain and needing to get the tooth extracted, I was given many warning signs from my body, my natural body telling me, hey, you're not flossing enough, or hey, you're eating too much sugar, or hey, you're not brushing your teeth. It took time for it to ultimately get to where it got to, and I paid that price. When our intuition and our gut is telling us what it's telling us, sometimes we don't even need to know why. We just need to listen and do what our body is telling us. I have a quick story. When I was 17, Waterbury, Connecticut, we would have these festivals down in Library Park. I was there with my peers. This is when I first started learning my skills and my powers. My gut just told me, we need to leave and we need to leave now. So I told my peers, like, I don't know what it is, but we need to go. They're like, what? I said, we need to go now. And I just started running. And they're like, what is he doing? They just started running too. Miss Stevie, within a few seconds and we got to the exit, all of a sudden you hear pop, 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 pop. Right from the center, right where we were, no questions asked, we kept it moving. To your question, sometimes us not listening to our intuition can be our life. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, our gift is our gift. And if our intuition is telling us what it's telling us, maybe we need to ask ourselves, what am I really feeling? But we cannot ignore that feeling. That's our superpower.
first instinct, intuition, your gut instinct would not lead you wrong. If it does not feel right, don't do it. If you sense these things, like you said, women, we're able to sense when something is coming, when danger is coming, when you sense it, when you feel it, it's almost like it's foreshadowing right there, something is going to happen. And it just gives you that feeling of like deja vu, like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, is this really happening at this moment in real time? Like, is this coming? Yes, it's happening. So follow that instinct.
Absolutely.
Okay, Fashion
Absolutely.
Dolls, I'm a little nervous. My heart is beating very, very fast.
Why is that?
I'm going to let Lawrence take the floor. My guests get to ask me as many questions as they want to. Sort of poke my brain for the new viewers out there to find out what are my interests, what are my goals, what are my passions, fashion, beauty, whatever they want to know about me. For the new viewers, you'll get to know a little bit through the questioning. So take it away,
I
Lawrence.
love this portion. Miss Stevie, where did you see yourself when you were a child? So let's say single digits.
Ooh. And you're talking about in my teen years. Wow.
No, no, I'm talking about
Or like
before
eight,
that. Like,
maybe eight,
yeah.
9, 7. I
Hmm.
always knew I wanted to host a talk show. And it was one day in the doctor's office with my grandmother. And I picked up, it was Ebony Jet, one of the magazines. It was her appointment. And I tapped my grandma. I said, Grandma, look. On the front cover was Tony Braxton. I said, Grandma, it's Tony Braxton. And she just, I want to say I was 8 or 7 years old around that time. And she's like, this baby is reading. So you understand instantly at a young age what you want to do. And
Mm.
then from there on, we had an assignment when I want to say we was in middle school or either elementary school where we had to be news reporters and we had to go around and interview our family. It was a school assignment. And this was for English language arts. And so that was my start right there. And in high school, public speaking, because I was nervous. I was sort of fretful and shy people, and I still am because it's okay to have your
Mm.
reservations. With you being in the limelight and you're having your reservations, again, it goes back to instinct because you're always having to look around. Make sure nobody's trying to grab you or anything. But that's when I knew at 7 or 8 years old with my grandmother sitting in that doctor's office. That was the moment for me right there.
I love that. I love that. What would you say has been your most disappointing moment in your life?
The most disappointing moment. Mm. I've had doors closed in my face. I've had people, you know, not give me the opportunities as someone, and I must say that colorism is definitely a thing,
Mm,
as someone who is lighter skinned. So I've noticed that I've been shunned away and I haven't been given the same opportunities as someone who is a lighter complexion. So that is one of my biggest disappointments. And I just say, you know what, if nobody's going to give you, and I quoted Shirley Chisholm yesterday, if nobody is going to give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And I took my own opportunities off of those people telling me no and saying, no, we don't want to work with you, this, that, and the third, and the other. And I created my own platform. And I started Style by Stevie right after high school. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. 2016 was the year. And it wasn't originally called Style by Stevie. It was called Weekdays Topics. And I would just talk about pop culture, celebs, what's going on in the world, the political climate. I would be deeply engaged. And then I started interviewing friends of mine who did music, who were up and coming actors. And that's kind of how it just branched off from there. But brainstorming in my room, before we got to that point, I said it's got to have a name. It can't just be Weekdays Topics. And we would do it at 11 a.m., not 4 p.m. every day. But it's got to have a name. It's got to be catchy. Okay, I love fashion. My sister principal just got me into learning more about designers and things. It's got to have a name. Boom.
mm,
Style by Stevie.
wow.
Because you're stylish,
Mm,
you love
mm,
fashion, you
mm,
love entertainment, and you know your viewers love these things as well too. You keep them entertained. So why not Style by Stevie? And a lot of people, when they see the name, they think it's just fashion. They think it's just beauty. No, it's more than just that. It's a message. It's giving you social commentary on what's going on, political climate. It's also keeping you informed to, okay, how can you invest in black-owned businesses? Not just people see fashion and glamour. They see style and they think fashion, glamour, but it's way more than that. Style by Stevie, I must say, is a lifestyle. It is fabulous. It is glamorous. It is all of these things, but it's also intelligent and informative. So, right after me, I named all of that.
I love that. I love that. What would you say your audience, what is something about you that your audience may never know? And that it doesn't have to be too personal, but like a hobby or like a guilty pleasure song or something that some folks would never know you were into that or you liked a certain song or food even.
Well, it does involve food. I've gotten into cooking.
Hey.
Before, I was used to people cooking for me, but let me tell you, Thanksgiving rolls around. I'm responsible for the baked macaroni and cheese. I learned how to do catfish nuggets. I know how to put it in the, what is it called? The cornmeal, get the oil, all of that. So, yes, cooking is something that I do when I'm not doing this platform here. And I love it. It's therapeutic for me. So I think my mother has completely rubbed off on me because she says cooking for me is like therapy. Or she'll go outside and she'll put plants together. She'll see all sorts of beautiful flowers and she'll put arrangements together for my grandmother or for my aunt, her sister. So I think my mom has rubbed off on me cooking completely. So that's a guilty pleasure of
I
mine.
love that. And who would you say influenced you the most growing up?
Wow, I would have to say my mom. My mom has been my rock. And a woman can have the most precious thing. Women, we love diamonds, yes. But the most precious diamond is your mother. And that's to anybody. So I'm thankful to have her. And I don't know what I would do without her. A lot of people have lost their parents,
Yeah,
lost both of them. And I have both of them here with me, my mom and my dad. And I'm grateful to say they're both alive. They're still living. And it's a blessing. So I would have to say my mom and my grandmother. They have been the most influential in my life.
I love that. My last question, which is one of my favorite questions. Well, I have two questions. When is the
Okay.
last time you've done something for the first time?
Ooh, the last time I've done something for the first time. Oh my goodness. I would have to say stepping out on faith because I truly did not think that this season, this year, 19 would not happen.
Mm.
I truly did not. I'm like, people are going to get sick and tired of me just popping up, going on every single day. But no, when I came back, because I came back January 2nd, 2020, no, January 1st, 2025. and it was with J. Dot Brown that we came back. And when I came back, it was just like, when a family member goes away and they come back home to visit, that was the feeling. Everybody was happy to see me because I took that little break back in December 2024 last year. And then I came back, boom, January 1st, 2025. New year, new outlook, new set, everything. And it was just like we never left. It was like a love affair continued.
I love that. And you know what? And I know you know this. Breaks are important. Like we need to rest every now and then, regroup, and just be before we can become anything else. And that actually leads into my last question. Before you leave this earth, for every human being that comes in contact with you, what do you want them to know about you, and what do you feel like is your purpose to leave them and to leave this earth?
Ooh, I would say to know that I've made an impact on the world, to know that my voice, my interviews, my conversations that I've had with fabulous guests like yourself and so many others have made an impact on their life. So these conversations will be left up, and that's why when Josie asks, "Are you gonna please leave the replay up?" I leave them up for that, just for that purpose right there, because you never know what a person could be going through in their life, and they could put on something, a
Absolutely.
song or something, and it brings a certain mood to you. Like I hear Sade playing in the background, and I know I'm not gonna open the door for copyright reasons, but putting on a Sade song or a Mary J. Blige song is what gets me in a happy mood. Like Mary J. Blige has a song called Memories, and she talks about finding love and falling out of love and how the person didn't send her any gifts on Valentine's Day and how, I'm all alone and regrouping and finding yourself. The song is called Memories. It's from her Mary album,
Mm,
and it's one of my favorites, up tempo. And the Mary album came out in 99, I want to
I
say.
remember.
Yeah,
Right.
1999.
Yeah.
And it's number 7 on that album.
Hey.
So that's one of my favorites. And when I put that song on, it just makes you think about, what could have been, moving on to the next part of your life. So it brings a certain mood, a certain happiness,
Mm,
and it takes you to a certain space. So that's what it does for me.
I love that. I love that. I remember that Mary album. My twin sister. That's all she pumped for a while. The duet with her and Casey. That used to be our song. Good times. I love it. I
So
just wanted to make one correction. My last name is pronounced Sturdivant or Sturdivant. That's all.
Sturdivant.
I
Sturdivant.
like Sturdivant better. My family they laugh at me when I say it Sturdivant. I'm fancy. That's what it is.
So before we let you go, what are some gems that you would give? Because in the beginning, introducing you in the interview, I said that 2025 is the year for more. What what is some advice that you would give to the fashion dolls, to your followers, to your supporters going into this year? It seems like we're in a dark time right now, but I have faith that we're going to come out of this dark time as we've always have. So,
That part.
what what is some advice that you would give to people who may seem like it's a dark time, it's a dark period for them?
I love that question. And I would say what you focus on is what you receive. So if we're only focusing on the dark, if we're only focusing on what's not going right, if we're only focusing on pain, if we're only focusing on all the things that we don't want, don't expect anything but that because that is where your focus is. I ride motorcycles. I have my boat license. One of the first things they taught us was not to hit the dog. And what do they mean by that? Like if you're driving your motorcycle and you have tunnel vision towards a dog or a telephone pole, 9 out of 10 times you're going to hit that dog and you're going to hit that telephone pole because that is what your focus is. So my advice for folks for 2025, as much as our minds may want to drift towards the things that we don't want, towards the things that aren't going well for us, it is within our power to also shift our heads and look into a different direction. And then our ability to foresee something different. That is where I actually challenge all of my friends, my peers, your guests. I challenge you to try to see things differently. Allow your mind to even imagine a different world and what that would look like, what that would feel like, what your senses would be if you were not where you are. And the more energy that we can give towards what we want, we're going to get closer and closer towards that versus what we are experiencing or what we even feel that we're experiencing. Because some of that could just also be emotional, or that could just be conflated from other people's perspectives or what they're going through and not even us ourselves. So be present and be mindful of what you're focusing on, and give yourself the opportunity to think towards what you actually do want. No resistance in that space.
Absolutely. And today's final thought is not a final thought.
Yeah.
It is a Bible scripture I want you guys to remember, and it's called Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. And this is Second Corinthians 6:2. And I want you guys to know about this. This is about procrastination, putting off today what you can do tomorrow. Now's the time. If you want to start a business,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to invest in helping someone else, now is the time to do it. And as I stated in the beginning of today's show, 2025 is the year of more. 2024, I want to say, was the year of awakening for a lot of people, for a lot of us. But 2025 is the year of doing it, just doing it, and wanting more of it. So that will be my final thought of the day. Continue to follow your heart and your endeavors and your passions. And I tell you guys this all the time, fashion dolls: live life through fire. So if that means if you got something you want to complete and accomplish, go for it. Now's the time more than ever. Don't wait. So that is the final thought.
Amen.
So before we wrap, Lawrence, the film, where can everyone check you out? Check out the film. The film will be coming pretty soon, I'm pretty sure of it. And your book, which will pre-sales will begin this week, The Divorcee. So make sure you guys go and check that out. But where can everyone check you out and check the film out and follow you?
Yeah, the film, if you go to Two Piece Productions, that is the director and the film team. We are going through the film festivals. It is actually one of three. I'm in one of the other films, so two out of three of the trilogy. Once we get past the film festival circuit, then we're going to go to the streaming markets for all streaming channels. My book, as you mentioned, pre-sales will be available this week. I'm finalizing my ISBN, so I can have my digital copy. I will have hard paperback copies as well, and there's going to be a couple like promotions with marketing within the first few weeks. First, a couple snippets here and there on my pages, do some live reads, and then also some live book signings in our local market here in Connecticut. Yeah, I'm very excited. It was very liberating just to write this book, and very freeing, realizing that so much of my life, even certain folks in my family, have no idea what I went through. So it's not, it's one of those things that kind of, when people come in contact with you, they're like, you're so different. Now people have a better understanding as to why that is. And I'm hoping that, I'm trusting, I don't like the word hope, I'm trusting that this book will help a lot of folks throughout their transformative journey of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you guys go and check it out. The book is titled The Divorcee. Again, pre-sales begin this week. Be on the lookout for the film as well too with Lawrence. No, hopefully we have a show tomorrow. Tomorrow is Ellis. If not, then make sure you guys be on the lookout for the lineup for next week. Joining me Monday, we have Martin Nuza. So make sure you guys tune in for that as well too. So without further ado, Lawrence, thank you. It was such a pleasure to
Thank you, Miss
chat with you,
Stevie.
and I
It's a pleasure.
would love to have you back on again. You are so welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Take
Take care.
care, everyone, and you guys can check out the replay and also head on over and subscribe to Lawrence's channel as well too. And you can check it out on Style by Stevie, and I'll have that information there provided for you as well. So take care, everyone, and have a fabulous Thursday. And I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. Take care, everyone.
Take care.